Hello and happy Monday, everybody. We're kicking off this new week with several changes to our weather pattern that's going to bring us a cool down and also some rain chances, though those rain chances themselves have picked right back up today. It's been over about a week and a half since we've seen any rainfall area wide. We've struggled to get rain that we really desperately need after the past couple months have been very unseasonably dry and too dry this month as well. Our environment is stressed out. It needs the rain, so we'll be glad to get whatever we can catch over the next 24 to 48 hours or so. But that's not the only change headed our way. A cold front is currently sliding through the area, but will really kick into gear in terms of dropping those temperatures down later tonight and then into your Tuesday morning and Tuesday afternoon. It's going to be much more seasonable, much more on par with what we would hope for early October once we can fully get that cold front to pull through. Also, that cold front does bring an increased chance for rain and maybe some rumbles of thunder for your Tuesday morning. That's when we have a first warn in place and is our greatest chance to find rain alongside this weather maker rolling through in the form of a cold front. So I want to break down that first one for you and in general what we can expect from the rain these next couple days, and then we'll talk temperatures, and I have your Chiefs forecast too. So we'll cover all of those today for that Monday Night Football here in just a few minutes. First, next 3 days are going to bring a lot of changes. Day after day looks different from one another, which is not something that we've had in terms of a whole lot of change over the past week. Our forecast has been incredibly consistent. It's something we as meteorologists call a persistence forecast because it just doesn't change. Though we've been fending off any sort of weather maker and cold front for over a week now, we are finally pulling one through as we speak, and that will at least help temperatures in the near term today, but even more so on your Tuesday. That's once that cold front will fully pull through the area, though it does bring that increased rain and at times thunderstorm chance with it on your Tuesday morning commute. And then on Wednesday, we return back to sunshine and dry conditions, though those temperatures will be cooler, which I know that I've been really looking forward to. So the rain chances that we have for the front half of this week are only on Monday and Tuesday. We're not settling into a consistently wetter pattern by any means. It's just going to be a couple days where some of us will have to dodge some rain out there before we then dry out Wednesday and Thursday and bring back some sunshine too. So let's walk through future track radar for today, going right into your Tuesday morning. Then I'll explain why that first warn is in place on Tuesday like you see there on your screen, and we'll plan out both days accordingly. So first, as we start with this Monday morning, starting our day, especially up towards northeastern Kansas, northwestern Missouri, they've already found some rain out there. They'll continue to find rain for the next couple of hours and maybe even off and on through the early afternoon as well, in the form of some scattered showers and at times maybe some isolated thunderstorms too. That's as that cold front is sitting up there. So they're already tapping into the cloud cover, the rain cooled air, the cooler temperatures associated with that front that we will then find tomorrow here in the metro. We can see off and on rain for them, but maybe at times some scattered showers for us here in the metro too in the afternoon and evening time. That's where that 30% chance of rain really comes into effect today. And then it increases into your Tuesday morning. Check this out. We can see we bring in that first warn and then we bring back greater coverage and potential of that rain. Stepping through the pre-sunrise hours of your Tuesday, thunderstorms possible, especially north of the metro and areas that are already found rain today and will continue to find rain through the rest of your late morning and afternoon. But then right as we approach the sunrise hour and 7 o'clock, that's when we're trying to find this more likely system to pull through to deliver the metro with more rain. We bring in that first warn there in the morning, and then that rain chance really kicks out quickly after that. We get on with the rest of our Tuesday. We eventually get rid of the cloud cover. We find some sunshine to end the day and are much more comfortable by those afternoon hours too. So in general, that first warn on your Tuesday is for this 50% chance of rain, but this system overall is looking to pull in a little earlier and leave a little earlier than originally anticipated. Now that we're 24 hours out, we have the best high resolution data available so that we are able to get a clear vision of what this storm system is likely to do, and it's likely to get out of here by lunchtime. So if you're trying to get out and about for lunch, if you have any midday appointments or anything that you need to do along those lines, it's going to be much drier than what we'll have as we get out the road on that morning commute. So for Tuesday's rain chances specifically, in that first warn specifically, we're going to put that first warn into effect right around 6 a.m. and then we're going to keep it into effect into the mid-morning. It's not a long time by any means. It's just encapsulating where we find that 50% and that greatest shot of rain right in the early to mid-morning hours. Before then, check it out, we get on with the rest of our day and we dry out. We take those rain chances off the board completely after lunchtime, as this cold front sags to the south and then eventually gets out of our hair, leaves us with some drier air and of course cooler temperatures. So in terms of how much rain we could find between now and by the time that this system gets out of here, it's not a whole lot. I'm going to be honest with you. We're not talking about a washout. This isn't an overly prolific or efficient rainfall maker. Instead, it's looking to bring us anywhere from a couple hundredths of an inch down towards Paola and Olathe to maybe a quarter of an inch, or isolated spots finding more than that up towards northwestern Missouri. I think here in Kansas City and the metro, we're talking up to a quarter of an inch. If you do tap into a heavier downpour or maybe find a thunderstorm or two, that's where that localized rain total potential is going to be higher. But overall, a lot of us even struggling to find rain the farther south and farther east that we go, down towards Sedalia, Warrensburg, Butler, places like that, south of I-70. That's where this front's going to run out of some of the fuel, some of the gumption to get down there, and it won't deliver quite as much rain in that neck of the woods. So in general, let's summarize your Tuesday. Then I actually want to backtrack a bit and talk about Monday too, because we do have some rain on the board today as well, but just want to get you all the details on that first one because that will be the most impactful rain chance. So stepping through your Tuesday, in general, morning time, rain and thunderstorms possible, but check it out. It's going to be cooler out there in the 50s to start our day. Then by lunchtime, we're drying out. We're pulling some of that cloud cover out of the area. We'll still be significantly cooler than where we'll be at lunchtime today. We're already warmer than this today, so it's going to be 60 degrees by that time lunchtime rolls around. We're drying out. More likely than not, you won't have to be dealing with rain if you're headed out to lunch or having anything you need to getting done on your lunch break. You're likely not to run into rain out there. Then in the afternoon time, that's when we finally get those fall feels that we've been desperately wanting and patiently waiting for. We're talking an afternoon high of 69 degrees, not even looking to poke into the 70s tomorrow. Cooler, maybe some winds at times, but those winds are going to feel more comfortable as they'll come out of the north and northwest instead of those hot winds that we've had to deal with all throughout last week and into the weekend too. So that's your Tuesday in a whole. Let's talk about what else this front's going to do and what it is doing right now for northwestern Missouri as we speak. So this cold front's coming in, and of course it's going to bring those rain chances and that increased rain and storm potential on your Tuesday, but some of us still have the chance to find some rain today, and we're also going to find those temperatures knocking down Tuesday. We've talked about it, not even going to escape the 60s on your Tuesday afternoon. Much more seasonable for this time of year. Temperatures will rebound quickly, but we'll take what we can get in the meantime. So let's talk about your Monday, because that cold front, as I mentioned, is already sitting across northwestern Missouri. Through the rest of our day today, it's possible we find some rain and maybe some thunderstorms stemming off of that cold front. We're not really going to see it or feel it pass by until later on, but still possible, that we find some showers, as I mentioned, and maybe an isolated thunderstorm or two off this cold front through the afternoon hours. So that's also when we'll be at the warmest today. Of course, more sunshine, just like what we're having out there to start our Monday, though it could bring a couple more clouds out there to try and drop some rainfall headed our way. That's today. And then if you're worried about that rain maybe impacting some of those chief watch parties, or if you're firing up the grill in the backyard, I want you to know I'm not overly concerned about that. It is going to be a 20 to 30% chance that you find some isolated showers out there, so maybe that briefly sends you inside after that kickoff right around 7:15. But no, it's not going to completely wash out any watch parties that you have today. Just keep some of those outdoor aspects of those watch parties on the more flexible side. You may need a hoodie or a quick rain jacket to throw on if you need to go pull things off the grill. But we're not really talking downpours or anything like that we have to deal with this evening. Rain is going to be much more difficult to find tonight. So that's your Monday. We've talked about rain chances stepping through the day. Let's talk about what they do as we get past Tuesday's first warn. And it's that they go away. We really settle back towards seasonable in the low 70s. We start to tap into more sunshine and we dry out. But that also means that we'll eventually start to warm right back up again on your Thursday, already unseasonable in the mid to upper 70s, but that's much better. That's about 10 degrees cooler than what we had out there this weekend. You'll see though by Friday, we already start to climb those temperatures steadily back up towards the 80s. So it's not really completely getting rid of these unseasonably warm temperatures. Friday will feel a lot similar and reminiscent of today, but we won't have to deal with quite a rain chance by the time we get there, at least not like what we have out there today. Speaking of, I do want to show you something interesting with high temperatures today and how much of a gradient there is between who's tapping into that front right now. That's Maryville, Atchison, Bethany, eventually St. Joe, but then who won't find it? Warrensburg, Harrisonville, Butler in the mid 80s today. So that's about a 25-degree difference in those afternoon highs, depending on who finds the front today and who doesn't. But we know that once that front does slide through throughout the day and then into your Tuesday morning, we'll finally be able to find that cool down area wide. But know that that front does have a lot of potential to actually cool us down and take us back towards seasonable. While I have ya, if you're interested, there is a Chiefs game, of course, down in Jacksonville this evening, and they're actually dealing with some rain and some interesting weather too. So let's chat for a second on what the Chiefs might have to face in terms of the forecast tonight when they take the field at 7:15 down in Jacksonville. So they're watching some rain chances down there. They're watching some thunderstorm potential too. Of course, it's Florida, so they get a lot of that, especially this time of year. But that could impact the game in one way or another, even if it doesn't have to do with a rain or lightning delay. That field might be on the slicker side. Things like that are things that we'll have to watch out for down there at Everbank Stadium. So 77 degrees means it's going to be comfortable by the time we kick off at 7:15 our time, 8:15 their time. But that's about the only thing that this forecast has going for it in terms of a positive note, because of course we do have those rain chances that we have to look at. If we look through the rest of our Monday down in Jacksonville, you can see those scattered showers and at times isolated thunderstorms trying to bubble up leading up towards kickoff. Then as we get right at that 7 o'clock hour, yes, this model tries to take that rain for the most part out of the area, but just 24 hours ago, the model was having a thunderstorm right over Jacksonville at 7 o'clock. So it's something we'll have to watch. It's back and forth on exactly where these isolated thunderstorms, the scattered showers could pop up, but know that that's something that may occur down in Jacksonville later on this evening as we're waiting for that game to get up and going. But you can rest assured that they will have at least comfortable temperatures. Of course, it will be a little humid out there. After all, it is Florida. But by the time the Chiefs get out there, it's going to be in the 70s. So not a whole lot different than what they would have if they were playing here in Kansas City this evening. but we'll be watching those rain chances very closely down in Jacksonville, as well as the ones that we have headed our way in Kansas City. Let's get you a look at your Security Bank 7-day forecast, where we can see everything I was just mentioning. So there's that warm afternoon today in the 80s, that 30% chance of rain for scattered showers and maybe at time a rumble of thunder or two here in the metro. That could happen this afternoon. So just keep that in mind if you have any outdoor plans or for that evening commute home in general. But that morning commute on your Tuesday looks to bring a greater impact. That's where we have that first warn in place. 50% chance to find some rain as we get our day started tomorrow. That first warn is going to be in effect from about 6 a.m. to 9 a.m. But then after that, that means that cold front's really getting to work. We'll find an afternoon only in the 60s. Then the next morning, we'll find another change in the form of cooler temperatures then too. So looking to start off our day in the 40s as we get started for our Wednesday morning. Then with that cooler start, it's a cooler end to the day. Seasonable temperatures in the low 70s, and then overnight lows start to climb up from the 50s into the 60s by the time we make it into next weekend. That also means that we'll find a climb on the other side of the clock by Friday, 80 degrees, looking to still keep those 80-degree afternoons going even into next weekend by the time we reach Saturday, where we welcome KC Current back in town, and Sunday when we welcome the Chiefs back in town. Thankfully, we're not looking at a weekend rain chance at this time. We do have a low end one on Friday that we are watching for you, but otherwise the majority of your forecast does look to stay dry in the meantime on your Wednesday and Thursday once we do clear these rain chances out in the meantime. So that's all for me. That's your forecast. Stay on your toes. Keep in mind that you may need the rain gear at some point or another today and this afternoon and on your Tuesday morning. But then after that, we'll enjoy a couple more comfortable and drier afternoons before we welcome those 80-degree days back in town. I hope you enjoy that more seasonable fall feel that we have been really looking forward to.
Good morning and happy Red Monday. Thank you for joining us here at the live desk. I'm Taylor Johnson here with Carolina. How are you doing, Carolina Cruz?
We're feeling good on this Monday.
Yes, we are. The Chiefs are playing tonight. Of course, it's an away game. We'll be asleep, though.
I know. You know what? For some of those games, I try to stay up maybe for the first half and just be tired the next day and say, I'll find out what the score is tomorrow.
Yeah.
But we'll see how it goes tonight. You know, starting that off maybe on a Thursday when you're like close to the weekend, but on a Monday that might be a little tough.
Yeah, Thursdays I can swing it.
Yes.
I'm like, you know what? I'll wait till tomorrow. We'll have the report first thing in the morning.
Yes.
All right, well, let's jump into our news headlines for today.
All right, let's kick things off. Kansas City police are asking for your help this morning because they're trying to figure out who killed and kind of what led up to the death of a 16-year-old on Saturday. Our KCTV5's Gabby Luma has been following this story for us and has the latest.
I'm KCTV5's Gabby Luma. Police still searching for a suspect or suspects in a shooting death of 16-year-old Corey Jones. That happened on Saturday night just before 5:30 when police responded to that call near Bay Water Park. Now, again, this just happened before 5:30. Corey Jones was found with gunshot wounds in critical condition. Unfortunately, succumbed to those injuries just hours later. Police, again, looking for any suspects in this case. They're asking anyone to reach out to their TIPS hotline, but this comes just weeks after a similar incident at El Mercado Fresco. That's just next door to the water park, where two men, 17-year-old Delvion Carmichael and Gande Salamed, he was the owner of El Mercado Fresco, they were both shot to death, and police still looking for suspects in that case as well.
That was our Gabby Luma reporting. Well, the man found guilty of murdering a North Kansas City police officer could finally learn his fate today. Joshua Roach's sentencing hearing picked back up today. Last week, a jury found him guilty of first-degree murder in the death of Officer Daniel Vasquez. That same jury will decide Roach's fate, whether he'll spend the rest of his life in prison or face the death penalty. Right now, it's still not clear when the case will officially wrap up. Out for anyone interested in former Jackson County Executive Frank White's position. Applications for the role opened on Friday and they close today at noon. The deadline comes as we wait out on a vote to confirm White's temporary replacement. And here to talk with us all about it is KCTV5's Nathan Brennan. I know you have been on top of this story, Nathan.
Yeah, absolutely, Taylor. And it's crazy that we've now gotten to this point, right? Because just last week, really less than a week ago, we were having the conversation with voters of, okay, the recall election is here. We're going to wait to see how those votes ultimately shape out. And it was overwhelming deciding that Frank White will be removed from office. About 85% of Jackson County voters who did vote in that recall election deciding to remove Frank White from office. Now, less than a week later, those applications for the county executive are closing. We obviously know that Kay Barnes is that interim county executive for really only about 30 days. So in the next month, by probably the end of this month, we should have a decision, and those legislators will then ultimately vote on who that interim county executive will be.
And so again, we mentioned that deadline is today, right?
Yeah. So that deadline to apply is noon. So here very, very shortly. So if you do want to throw your name in the hat, I know that we've heard from several leaders within Jackson County, within Kansas City, who've already thrown their name in the hat. Justice Horn, he's been involved with Jackson County for quite a while. Chairman Duran McGee also saying that he will throw his name in the hat. We talked to him a couple months ago when this conversation first came up about a possible recall of Frank White. He said that he would possibly be interested in the job. So a couple people have already thrown their names out there, and you know how these things go, Taylor. There are names that we haven't even discussed that will obviously throw their name in the hat as well. So it'll be interesting to see what happens here over the next 30 days.
And the video that we were just watching there was a listening session. I know there was one over the weekend. There are going to be some more to come. Yeah. But, I mean, you've been on the ground, even on Election Day, talking to these voters about what they're looking for in the next county executive. So what have they been telling you?
Well, Taylor, I've been through this entire process since the beginning, right? Since the debacle with the property assessments. I was there for that whole process, speaking with voters, then through this recall election. I mean, early voting, now to the recall election. I was speaking with voters. I've been to these town halls where we've heard from voters as well. And I think that's what really sticks out is property taxes. And I know that we actually spoke with one voter who said that a lot of times when you hear from Frank White, he thinks that the reason that voters wanted him out was because of how the stadium deal went down, right? So obviously Jackson County now still trying to keep the Royals and the Chiefs. We've heard from Kansas, but that situation didn't go great for Frank White, and he thinks that that's the reason why ultimately voters wanted him out. Voters that I've spoken with have not said that really at all. Every voter that I've spoken with just about has said that property taxes, property assessments are to blame, and ultimately the reason why they voted to remove Frank White from office. So that was the case during this most recent town hall this past weekend. All of those voters saying that they want property taxes to be addressed. They think that property assessments weren't handled the right way, and that's been a common theme. So expect that to be a hot topic and a big part of the conversation here over these next 30 days while legislators ultimately decide that new county executive.
And speaking of a hot topic, this was part of your sound this morning in our early newscast that some of the voters are saying that they want new blood, that they don't want someone from the inside.
Which is really fascinating, right? Because we also heard from voters talking about how they wanted there to be some type of compromise within the legislature, right? I mean, we've heard over the last year or two butting heads between the county executive, between legislators. I know that Sean Smith, Manny Abarca have gone back and forth with Frank White in the past, but that was what voters said they wanted to see. They said they wanted compromise between the legislature, between the county executive. So new blood has become a part of that conversation. Voters saying that they want someone from the outside that's willing to have some of that compromise, that's willing to have some of these important discussions with the legislators that are already in office. So that will also be interesting to see if ultimately that's part of the vote, right? Because at the end of the day, legislators are going to be the ones that are going to discuss and vote on this new county county executive that we will find out here in the next 30 days. It's not going to be the voters that are going to vote on that. Of course, they have input, and what they say matters, and legislators have made that very clear, but it will be very interesting to see if legislators take into account that voters want to see someone from the outside coming in.
Yeah, for sure. And we have that 30-day deadline, but
Yes.
then also whoever the person is that's going to take that spot, and I guess they'll have it until 2027?
Yes, so they will be in office until January of 2027, which was Frank White's term. So he was scheduled to be in office until January of 2027. Obviously, he's now been recalled. He will no longer be in office. So that interim county executive will serve until that January 2027 date.
All right. Well, you, again, like you showed us, you've been on top of it. I know
Oh, yeah.
It's not
quite
even
a
close
bit,
to the
Taylor.
end.
Yeah, it's not over quite yet. So we'll definitely be following this really closely over the next month.
All right. Well, thank you so much for
Yeah.
your time, your expertise. We appreciate it.
Thank you. Appreciate it.
All right, so obviously that's a big talker. And the Jackson County Election Board is set to certify those results from the recent recall election. That's happening this week. Kansas City will be following and then certifying its votes on Wednesday. And Missouri Fire Service has paid tribute to honoring the state's fallen firefighters. First responders held a memorial service to remember those who have been killed in the line of duty, including, as you can see right here, Kansas City firefighter paramedic, that's Graham Hoffman. He died in April when he was stabbed by a patient he was trying to help. He's remembered by family and friends as a leader both on and off the job.
The city of Lexington, they want to make sure nothing like this happens again. Utility companies won't be allowed to dig in the area for the next 90 days so they can make new safety plans. Now, in April, a gas leak from a fiber line work caused a home explosion that killed a 5-year-old boy. Since then, residents have faced evacuations for similar leaks, sometimes twice in a week. Mayor Hughes says the city can't block utility projects altogether, but new ordinances could help prevent future incidents.
Yeah, and we're going to watch that one very, very closely. Next up, we've got reactions pouring in after new details emerged in the death of Charles Adair. He died in July while in custody at the Wyandotte County Jail. Court records say Deputy Richard Fatherly put his knee on Adair's back. Deputy Fatherly hasn't been arrested and is not expected in court until mid-November. Nikki Richardson is the executive director and co-founder of Justice for Wyandotte. It's an organization that she started after the death of George Floyd. Holding back some tears while we spoke with her, she says what happened to Adair is exactly what she's been working to prevent.
Sometimes it's hard to kind of wrap my head around that it wasn't just a one-on-one interaction, that there were other officers and other staff that were around and that were witnessing this, because it always begs to question, why didn't somebody jump in?
Deputy Fatherly has been charged with second-degree murder, and we reached out to his attorney, who declined to comment.
Well, Kansans might be able to change gender marker driver's licenses again. The State Department of Revenue could resume allowing it as soon as today. It comes 1 week after a new ruling from the state's Supreme Court. Attorney General Cruz said he wants a special session to add more language to the law that blocks the move. Back in 2023, lawmakers passed a bill banning people from changing their gender markers on driver's licenses and birth certificates.
One person is dead after a wrong-way crash on I-29. The Missouri State Highway Patrol says that car was stolen during a robbery in Gladstone and was heading south in the northbound lanes near North Oak Traffic Way. It slammed into another vehicle head-on. The passenger in that car died at the scene. The driver and the suspect are both in critical condition.
All right, our next story this morning, one that we've been following. A Missouri soldier taken prisoner in World War II finally received a proper farewell. 80 years after his death, Sergeant Simon Gerlich was laid to rest at the Sheffield Cemetery after his remains arrived in Kansas City last week. For decades, his family wondered if they'd ever be able to bring him home.
And now I'm off to tears. And they're tears of joy, not tears of sadness. It means almost everything in the world. And I'm happy. I'm really, really happy.
Sergeant Gerlich will now forever lay next to his mother and sister right here in Kansas City.
Okay, this next story was the talk of the town over the weekend. The lawn at the World War I Museum and Memorial was completely covered in pink when Chapel Roan stole the show, and you could see fans even rushing to grab a spot in that general admission area just to get close to the Midwest Princess. hours before her 2 sold-out shows kicked off. That was on Friday and Saturday. And the city had been gearing up here, from creating a giant mural to turning the streetcar even into a Pink Pony Express. Fans came from all over to be a part of this.
It's just so positive energy. Everybody here is so encouraging and sweet.
It's just really cool to see someone who comes from a small town doing big things and helping people and making great music.
The Metro is just one of 3 stops on Chappell Roan's tour this year, so we are so honored that she chose us. The other 2 are New York City and Pasadena, California.
Yes, and I ran into some of Chappell Roan's fans. I don't know if she has a name for her fans, like the Swifties and stuff, but they were so nice. And I mean, it was
a lot
so
of
many
love,
people.
right?
Yeah, it's really cool to see this. All right, so our next story this morning, city leaders in Lee Summit, they're weighing some major changes as Kansas City gets closer to hosting the World Cup. Tomorrow, city council members will consider a proposal that would put limits on several things between June 1st and July 31st. That includes who can have permits for large fireworks. The city would only approve a handful of large firework display events, and the proposal would also limit gatherings that expect more than 1,000 attendees.
All right, folks, get ready for an extra special Taco Tuesday. Don't say we didn't tell you ahead of time here. Kansas City, Kansas is celebrating National Taco Day with some great deals from local restaurants, and we are talking even free tacos for some of these.
You had me at free.
That's exactly. You can chow down on the KCK Taco Trail. You can get double points at each restaurant you visit, and then those points can actually be redeemed for Taco Trail merchandise, VIP experiences. You can find all the information right there, kcktacotrail.com.
That sounds great to me. Well, this weekend is Waldo's turn to welcome fall. The Waldo Area Business Association is hosting its 33rd Fall Fest starting Saturday. You can expect live music, local vendors, and tons of family fun. Set up in the parking lot near Gregory and Warnell, and that starts at 10:30 Saturday morning and goes until 5. Hopefully, they'll have some actual fall weather to go along with this fall festival, because I know you were telling us this morning, Carolina, you went apple picking or something.
I went to Apple Fest in Weston, Missouri.
And this is not Apple Fest weather.
I mean, I even wore a tank top, and I was trying to think cool, so I put my hair up. 5 minutes in, I was just like,
oh, take it off.
It was so hot. You know, my little girl was dancing. They had musicians out there.
Yeah.
And people were trying to just walk even in like the little slivers of shade in between some of those buildings.
Any shade.
Yes. There was like this cute flannel that they had displayed, and my husband's like, oh, I think you would love that. I think you'd look really good in that. It was giving Yellowstone vibes. I was like, I can't even
try it
process this right now.
Flannel,
I'm like, yes, it's cute, but
90s.
I can't. So it was hot. I went 2 years ago, and it was crisp. It was like I could still wear like a sweater dress and boots and be comfortable. But this time around, it was still summer out there.
A sweater vest and boots, you're probably soaking in sweat.
Yes.
And we don't want that.
No.
We don't want that. But what we do want tonight is a win from the Chiefs.
I'm hoping. Okay, but this next story, I was pretty bummed when I saw this come through as a news alert. So the Chiefs are hoping to keep the momentum, obviously, going into Florida as they are getting ready for Monday Night Football tonight with the Jags. Receiver, though, Xavier Worthy is questionable for tonight's game, and he made such an impact that last game. He's been dealing with shoulder and ankle injuries. So it's a surprise since he wasn't on the injured report and he practiced in full all week.
Yeah.
Kickoff, though, at Everbank Stadium is set for 7:15 tonight. Plenty of time to think of what you want to make for tonight. Definitely not chili just yet.
No
I'm waiting.
chili.
I'm waiting for that chili game,
Girl,
where I can do that.
I love chili. Chilling. Yeah, but again, it's like certain things you just can't do until it's crisp. That's why I still have not gotten a pumpkin spice latte.
Oh my gosh. Okay.
And we're in October.
Yeah.
What's going on?
I don't know, Taylor. We're gonna have to wait a little bit longer here.
Yes, this is true. But also in honor of the game tonight, our tower is going to be lit in red. We are hoping that the Chiefs will make it 3 straight wins. So we are hopeful that the tower is going to bring some luck tonight, as it is going to be lit all night long for the Chiefs Kingdom faithful. I love passing the tower on my way to work in the mornings. It's really nice to see.
Yes, because it's not solid.
Yeah.
I love that we have been able to incorporate different like themes and varieties where it kind of like goes up and down gradual, it sparkles, and but when it's lit up in red and all the other buildings are lit up in red, it's it goes to show great KC spirit there for our Chiefs.
Yes, and I'm gonna put myself out there because it's on the stream, since we're talking about things being lit up. So I almost did not come to work in red this morning. I forgot. And as I was leaving my home, I saw the red lights, and I was like, let me turn around and go.
She said, skirt. Reverse that car.
So the lights are helpful in more ways than one.
Absolutely. Yes, exactly. Right.
Yes. And so before the game, we also have you covered.
Yeah, so let's talk about it. KC Countdown is what we have. It's a special edition here for Monday night of our KC Countdown to get you ready for that matchup. It starts at 6:30, and it's followed right there by our news at 6. So you can just stay glued to your TV with us here all night long.
Yes, and then, get you a little nap in, and then get back up and join us again at 4:30.
Yes.
Because then we'll have all the highlights,
the
and the updates. Yes, you don't want to miss it. We'll be there. Well, thank you for joining us for our news headlines. We're going to take a break, and we'll be right back. Thanks for staying with us here at the live desk. Now we're going to move on to our national headlines for the day. The federal government shutdown is now on its 6th day with no end in sight. A new CBS News poll shows Americans are concerned about how it will affect the economy. Today, U.S. Senate lawmakers are expected to vote again on a funding bill to reopen the government, though top GOP and Democratic leaders are still blaming each other over the stalemate. CBS News' Jared Hill has more.
Today, another effort to end the government shutdown. The U.S. Senate is set to return to D.C. for more votes on short-term spending bills.
The Democrats just need to open up the government. I'm hoping that some of them have a change of heart.
Over the weekend, the political blame game continued as Republicans push to fund the government as is. Meanwhile, Democrats are dug in on demanding that the bill add provisions to protect subsidies under the Affordable Care Act as well as Medicaid.
We will not support a partisan Republican spending bill that continues to gut the health care of the American people.
Meanwhile, President Trump is doubling down on his threat to fire federal workers.
Anybody laid off, that's because of the Democrats.
Though the layoffs are up to his discretion. This comes as a new CBS News poll shows that many Americans are concerned the shutdown could affect the economy, while most disapprove of how the president and congressional Republicans and Democrats are handling it. Jared Hill, CBS News.
Overnight, President Trump's backup plan to surge federal troops to Portland, Oregon, blocked. A Trump-appointed judge argued the government appeared to be defying her previous order, which temporarily stopped the White House from sending Oregon's National Guard to the city. Instead, they sent California's National Guard. This comes after a weekend of heated confrontations between protesters and federal agents in multiple cities. Here's the latest.
Another night of protests outside of an ICE facility in Portland, Oregon Sunday, and another blow to President Trump's efforts to curb the demonstrations. Late Sunday, a Trump-appointed judge temporarily blocked the administration from deploying any National Guard units to Oregon, saying, quote, "There is no showing that there is military help that is necessary." The day before, she blocked the White House from deploying Oregon's National Guard to Portland. Sunday, the president moved to send troops from California, then from Texas.
As the judge noted, we presented substantial evidence that the protests at the Portland ICE facility were neither significantly violent nor disruptive in the days and weeks leading up to the president's directive.
Portland's mayor and the state's governor, both Democrats, maintain the city is safe, while White House aide Stephen Miller on social media called protests at ICE facilities a violent armed resistance designed to incapacitate the essential operations. Meanwhile, in Chicago, federal agents clashed with protesters. President Trump has federalized 300 Illinois National Guard troops there, a tactic he used in D.C., where he falsely claimed there is now no crime.
It took 12 days, think of that. Now we're in Memphis. We're doing the same thing in Memphis, and we're going to Chicago.
Illinois Governor J.B. Pritzker.
They are the ones that are making it a war zone. They need to get out of Chicago.
Now, Pritzker says the White House has ordered Texas National Guard troops to Illinois as well, calling the move madness. Jared Hill, CBS News.
Tomorrow marks 2 years since the war in Gaza began. October 7th, 2023 is when Hamas fighters attacked Israeli communities, killing civilians and taking hostages. Now, Hamas's forces are devastated. The former chief of Israel's military estimates more than 10% of Gaza Palestinians are dead or injured. That includes children who have starved to death or have been killed in military strikes. Now, analysts say a significant chance for peace is finally here. Amy Kiley, she reports on what they say is different about ceasefire talks that start today.
This is the closest we've come to getting all of the hostages released.
Analysts say an end to the war in Gaza could be within reach as ceasefire talks begin in Egypt today. Israel, Hamas, and the U.S. have delegations there. Negotiators are discussing President Donald Trump's 20-point roadmap for peace.
It's a great deal for Israel. It's a great deal for the entire Arab world, Muslim world, and world. So we're very happy about it.
The roadmap calls for an immediate end to the war. It then gives Hamas 72 hours to release all Israeli hostages. After that, it calls for Israel to set free 250 prisoners and 1,700 detainees. The plan also involves Israel's eventual withdrawal from Gaza. For the first time, Israeli leaders are publicly agreeing to that idea.
There's a lot of will on every party to try and get a deal this week.
Both sides face growing international pressure to end the conflict. A UN inquiry says Israel is committing genocide in Gaza. Also sparking outrage is Israel's recent attempt to assassinate a Hamas ceasefire delegation in Qatar.
Have you ever heard about a neutral country that mediates conflicts being attacked because they are hosting the talks from one of the parties of the conflicts?
The U.S. has considerable leverage over Israel. Analysts say Trump now seems ready to use it.
He's decided that this war and Israeli military operations need to come to an end.
I'm Amy Kiley reporting.
France's Prime Minister Sébastien Lecornu, he has resigned just a day after naming his government in less than a month in office. The French presidency announced today that President Emmanuel Macron had accepted his resignation. His choice of ministers had faced criticism across the political spectrum, seeking consensus at the deeply fractured National Assembly. Lecornu had announced that he would not employ a special constitutional power his predecessors used to force a budget through Parliament without a vote. Instead, he had planned to seek a compromise with lawmakers from the left and the right. Well, a group of 3 scientists have been awarded the 2025 Nobel Prize in Medicine. The Nobel Committee made the announcement Monday at a ceremony in Stockholm, Sweden. The committee gave the award to Mary E. Brunkow, Fred Ramsdell, and Shimon Sakaguchi for their groundbreaking work with the immune system tolerance. The scientists discovered how regulatory T cells work with our immune system to protect us from microbes trying to invade our bodies. The Nobel Committee chair said their discoveries have been decisive in the field of immunology. Well, Rite Aid is closing all locations, according to a recent post on the U.S. pharmacy chain's website. Rite Aid filed for bankruptcy in May, the second such filing in nearly 2 years. The company had also filed for bankruptcy in October of 2023 and said at the time that the restructuring would significantly reduce the company's debt while helping to resolve litigation claims in an equitable manner. Rite Aid said it planned to close down 154 stores after the filing, and more than 520 Rite Aid pharmacies have closed since October of 2023. The website for the company, founded in 1962, now only shows a service to help former customers find a new pharmacy and a link to request pharmacy records. And now, here's your Money Watch.
As the federal government shutdown hits day 6, a new CBS News poll shows many Americans are concerned about its effect on the economy. 49% say they're very concerned, while another 31% say they're somewhat concerned. This as those surveyed say the most important issues facing the country right now are the economy and jobs and inflation. A majority of respondents said they disapprove of the way President Trump, congressional Republicans, and Democrats in Congress have handled the shutdown. Nearly 4 million pounds of Foster Farms chicken corn dogs have been recalled because the batter may contain wood pieces. The USDA says there have been multiple consumer complaints and at least 5 injuries reported. The corn dogs were distributed to retail and government programs like the Defense Department and may have been purchased by some school lunch programs. Consumers should throw away the recalled product or return it to the place of purchase. And Taylor Swift's the official release party of a Showgirl film, which coincides with her latest album release, debuted atop the box office with an estimated $33 million in North America. One battle after another slipped to second this week, taking in $11 million. And biopic The Smashing Machine was third, earning an estimated $6 million. That's your CBS News Money Watch report. For more, log on to cbsmoneywatch.com. At the CBS Broadcast Center, I'm Jesse Mitchell.
Whooping cough, also known as pertussis, can be fatal for infants. A Children's Hospital of Chicago study found most children under 2 months of age who catch the disease end up hospitalized. Doctors say vaccination of mothers during pregnancy is critical because it protects infants from developing serious complications. Whooping cough is currently on the rise in the U.S. More Americans are dying from accidental drug-related injuries. A Duke University study found the rate of accidental overdose deaths has risen 60% in the last 5 years, with the biggest increase among middle-aged adults. Men are also most at risk, with their rate of deaths doubling that of women. The study's authors say we need to focus more on treating overdoses both inside and outside the home. People with depression have a more difficult recovery from surgery. An Ohio State University study found that post-surgery, patients with depression didn't recover as well as patients without depression. However, people who took antidepressants to treat their depression fared better. The study also found people with depression end up paying more money for post-surgical care. Those are some of the day's top health stories. Michael George, CBS News.
This week marks 25 years since the fast-talking, coffee-guzzling Gilmore Girls first graced the small screen.
Hey, they should make a Lifetime movie out of that poor Tori Spelling falling at Benihana. Teppanyaki, Grill of Death.
No Lifetime movie, but the stars of Stars Hollow are returning for a new documentary.
The mother and daughter relationships in all ways in that show were so juicy.
Juicy. Oh, I remember all of that.
Aptly named Drink Coffee, Talk Fast, the documentary serves up a mix of cast interviews, fan testimonials, and an emotional behind-the-scenes look at the cult classic. Production is still underway for the documentary, which is funded by donations as part of a Kickstarter campaign. A release date hasn't been announced. One tour, but twice the excitement for K-pop sensation Twice. The Korean girl group stole hearts with the Netflix collaboration on the animated movie K-pop Demon Hunters.
So sweet, so easy on the eyes, but curious on the inside.
And now the musical sensation are headed to the U.S. as part of their This Is For World Tour, kicking off their American leg, Part 2, in Seattle this January. Today is the last day to sign up for pre-sale ticket access.
I thought we could start with words that rhyme with Halloween. No, bad idea, very bad.
Halloween is still a few weeks away, but the hit show Family Guy is kicking the spooky season off early. Full of costumes and absurdity, the Family Guy 2025 Halloween special runs 22 minutes and is available today on Hulu. That's your Eye on Entertainment. Gwen Baumgardner, CBS News, Los Angeles.
K-pop Demon Hunters is having more than a moment. The soundtrack for the smash hit Netflix animated film returned to the top of the Billboard 200 album chart, beating out the debuts of new albums by Mariah Carey and Doja Cat, among others. We'll see how it fares next week when Taylor Swift's new disc hits the charts.
The real horror to this is that it's realistic.
The new Resident Evil has added cast members. According to The Hollywood Reporter, Kaylee Reese from True Detective Night Country has signed on for the horror franchise reboot, as has Zach Cherry from Severance. Weapons writer-director Zach Kreger is helming the reboot, which begins filming this month and is due in theaters next September.
In a place outside time lies a mystical realm.
You can revisit that realm as The Dark Crystal returns to theaters. The iconic live-action fantasy is getting a re-release in honor of the Jim Henson Company's 70th anniversary. Screenings are October 12th and 13th. Info and tickets at fathomentertainment.com. Seeking the great conjunction in Hollywood, I'm David Daniel.
Good morning, sports fans. I'm Mark Paulos with a look at today's top sports headlines. We're going to start on the gridiron. Chiefs wideout Xavier Worthy is questionable for tonight's game at the Jacksonville Jaguars with shoulder and ankle injuries. Worthy did not appear on the injury report all week and was added to the report last night after 6 p.m. The 22-year-old was a full participant at all the practices this week, so this does come as a surprise.
He's a guy that can win one-on-one against really everybody in the league, and so when you have that much explosiveness and you can run routes like he does, it brings a lot of attention to him. And so you saw that they were having to make decisions if they were going to play man coverage or if they were going to play zone coverage, and then it helped get other guys open as well.
QB1 certainly wants him on the field. Kickoff in Jacksonville is set for tonight at 7:15 p.m. The Chiefs are going for their 9th straight win against the Jags, and oddsmakers say the Chiefs are 3.5-point road favorites in Jacksonville. That's the good sports here on this Monday morning. Until we meet again, make it a good one, everybody.
Hello, everyone. I'm Sharon Chen with KCTV5. Welcome into another episode of Destination Heartland. So today we've got a special trip planned. We are going to take a trip down the historic Route 66, just about 2.5 hours out of Kansas City to Joplin, Missouri, a town's history that begins underground. So right now what I want to do is bring in Patrick Tuttle. He is the director of Visit Joplin, and there's so much to talk about here, Patrick. So let's go ahead and dive in. Welcome, and thanks for joining us today. We always start with history. So tell us about the history of Joplin.
Thank you. Well, Joplin just turned 152 years old, which seems small in some cases, but we were founded by being a mining community. They discovered lead in this area, and for a long time, but for the 1800s, we think that before that, even some of the native tribes, the Osage Indians, knew that it was here. But the people settling Missouri found it in the 1860s, and it really took hold when lead was discovered here. So lead and eventually zinc put Joplin on the map. Between here and into Kansas and all the way over to Miami, Oklahoma, was at one time the world's largest deposits of lead and zinc ore. So we mined for about 80 plus years. All the mining has ceased today, but the remnants are still around, and the history is definitely still here. And it was below ground. It was all working tirelessly, way down into the earth.
Wow, that's amazing. And, when you talk about the history of Joplin, what I found so interesting is that there's even some notorious ties, people that have come through the town at some point.
We've got history here of the Bonnie and Clyde era. They were here for 13 days, kind of on vacation. A little bit of R&R. The Jesse James has been through here, has been through much of Missouri. Pretty Boy Floyd, Al Capone used to come from Chicago down to Hot Springs, Arkansas, would stop off here at Wilder's restaurant for dining. In fact, some notorious folks in your area blew it up one day thinking the Chicago mob was moving in and they wanted the Kansas City mob to stay here. So, that's been very interesting. Probably the most one is Bonnie and Clyde. We still have probably the best kept place that they lived or hid out. It's actually a place you can stay at. It's a 2-bedroom VRBO. One of our attorneys owns it today, and it's a beautiful place that has a past of 2 of our constables were killed there during a shootout. But we actually knew who Bonnie was because they left the cameras behind, and all those famous pictures you've seen of Bonnie and Clyde came out of that apartment. Our paper developed them. Now the law enforcement folks knew who Bonnie looked like, and a year later they were stopped in their tracks.
Oh, that is so fascinating. I love hearing that part of history. There's so much of that here in the Midwest for sure. And also some key figures have ties to Joplin, Missouri, too.
We go back to the 60s with the actor Bob Cummings was here. He was a 60s heartthrob. Dennis Weaver, who was on Gunsmoke, and also McLeod was from Joplin. Mickey Mantle was over from Commerce, Oklahoma, but played ball here in Joplin for the Miners, M-I-N-E-R-S, and was scouted and signed by the Yankees here. So I know our Royals fans don't want to hear that, but it's quite a legacy that came out of here. And he actually had the first celebrity named Holiday Inn was here for him.
Oh, wow.
And all the greats from his era had been in Joplin. In fact, the Yankees played on one of our ball fields here. Some of the Yankees came here and played, and Stan Musial and all those guys back in those days. It was quite a history here. But the Mantle family is still present over in northeast Oklahoma.
That is so neat. I didn't realize that mini Mantle connection to Joplin. That is so interesting. One of the most interesting things about Joplin is that it is along Route 66, and a lot of it is mentioned in the song Route 66.
We are. St. Louis and us are both in the song. We're just one of 12 communities that are mentioned in there. We say we're at the crossroads of many journeys because we have 2 interstates, which there's only 4 communities in Missouri that can say they have 2 or more interstates. We're on the Jefferson Highway, which also goes through Kansas City, but it goes from Winnipeg to New Orleans. And it actually predates Route 66 by 10 years. it and the Lincoln Highway, when Lincoln Highway went across the northern part, east to west, and then the Jefferson Highway went north to south. But Route 66 is turning 100 next year. It's a big celebration. We've already been into it for about a year now. The international travelers that come here, we've had 42 nations already in our guest book this year. That surpassed last year's, and then next year with the actual centennial, we anticipate that to be even bigger. And then you add all the chatter with the World Cup, which is a great purpose. We're working towards, I know you all are gearing up there for World Cup, and we've been watching everything. But Joplin's actually between Dallas and Kansas City, so we're anticipating, and those are both in the same conference for the World Cup. So we've been some promotions of trying to encourage the internationals at least to experience Route 66 while they're traveling between Arrowhead and the AT&T Stadium, which is it's going to be an amazing time frame for all that. So we anticipate June and July being really crazy next year. Then you add USA 250 to that. For us, it's the 20th anniversary of the movie Cars, which is tied to Route 66 and all sorts of things. So it's going to be a big time.
It's going to be a big time. And you guys do have some key events planned for that time as well.
We did. We decided about 4 years ago that we weren't going to do what everybody else does. Car show, concert, arts fair, those kind of things. So we started doing some exploring, and several of us have been enamored by the chalk art and the 3D art that you look at it and it's like a big old hole in the ground. So in that same time frame, we partnered with the World Street Painting Foundation out of the Netherlands, and they have probably the best 3D artists in the world. And we already have 13 murals on the ground here in Joplin. We did 3 of them last year with 3 domestic artists, and this past year we did 10 of them with 8 international artists. We're talking Mexico, Japan, Italy, France, Bosnia, the Netherlands, and these folks are really amazing. And these are interactive pieces of art. They're all Route 66 themed, which is part of the Centennial, and they're just not Joplin. They cover it all across the area. But they're interactive, so you stand on it, you sit on it, you become part of it. There's a skateboard in one of them. You can jump on it and hang 5 or hang 10, I guess it would be, and all kinds of different things. So next June, we have 20 artists coming around from around the world, and they're going to be contributing 20 more pieces. And so for June of next year through October of 2027, which is the end of the centennial season, we will be the world's largest collection of 3D street paintings. And we're excited about that. That's our contribution to the Centennial.
Oh, that is going to be so cool. And I mean, just like you said, perfect for the World Cup because we're going to have all those countries coming through this area too. And to have that signified on the murals, that is going to be so neat. Going back
There's only 2 ways between Kansas City and Dallas, and not to ditch Wichita at all, but it's either Wichita or Joplin. So I'd much rather have them come straight down, 49 and come over here than pick up 44 and just head that direction. So, yeah, it's very interesting. We've partnered with Tulsa and Oklahoma City on some of the promotional areas. They're doing the same thing. They recognize the fact that it's actually closer to the Texas Stadium to go to Oklahoma City than it is to go straight down from here. So they're working with our colleagues in Oklahoma City and Tulsa, and doing some cross promotion that way to attract the international guests.
Oh, that is going to be so neat. And going back to Route 66, outside of the World Cup and America's 250th, there's a lot to see along Route 66 in the Joplin area. We're talking about some key landmarks there as well.
It is. We have 2 things. We promote Route 66 as America's longest museum. It is. And you talk about the internationals that come here, they want to see that Americana. They want to see that how things were, and they can do that. I tell this story over and over, but I talked to a gentleman from Scotland several years ago, and I said, we just turned 150 years old, but you guys got things that are 500 years old. And he said, that's all we have. We don't have the people that tell the stories. We don't have the food. They can hit all the senses when they come on Route 66, and that's why they do it. So through here, because of the Tri-State Mining District, we have rebranded this as the Route 66 Tri-State Corridor. So we work very closely with our colleagues through the Kansas section, which is only 13 miles. It's the shortest of the 8 states. And then our colleagues in Oklahoma. So Cherokee County, Kansas, Ottawa County, Oklahoma, and the Jasper County, Missouri. We hit that 51-mile stretch that we all work together and cross-promote each other. And there's everything. On the Missouri side, we've got Red Oak 2, the Carthage Courthouse, which is, ironically, the Carthage Courthouse is the second most photographed structure on Route 66.
Wow.
And actually, Missouri owns both of those because the first one is the Arch. So it's quite a thing to do. And then you got several things in Carthage you pick up. Webb City comes through here, and then on into Joplin. We've developed Mural Park, which has 3 large-scale tiled murals that is a good photo op for a lot of folks on Route 66. And one of them shows the entire route, and then one of them shows our tri-state corridor, the 21 landmarks that we promote the most.
That's a lot, 21 landmarks. And I mean, you hit on some of them. The one that caught my eye is there's an ice cream store, a Super Tam ice cream store. Is that one that you have to put on the list to visit?
It is, yeah. In fact, the family now has 3 of them along the route. They've expanded, but that one was started by a gentleman named Larry Trammell, and he collected all from his childhood to the time he sold the building, Superman. And there's lunch boxes, there's figurines, there's movie posters, there's probably, I think it's over 1,000 different items there that are all Superman related. So he was getting threatened by the folks that own Superman, and so he changed it to Super Tam.
Oh,
which is Tam for his name, and then Super for Superman. So, but it is still there. Still there. The Brileys have bought it, and then now have one, like I said, in Joplin, and also one in Miami. But it is really cool to see, all that Superman memorabilia. And again, it's something that attracts people from all over the world. They know about it, and that's the fun of it.
Yeah. And there was something else that caught my eye on that list too, is there's the 66 drive-in, which drive-in theaters are kind of a thing of the past, and for it to survive still, and even on Route 66, is so interesting.
It is, and it's probably the most prestigious and preserved of all of them on Route 66. I forget the number. I think it's like 4 or 5 is all that are actually dedicated still on the route. But it is probably the best kept one in best condition, and they do things all year long as they can. And the people that own it over there do a lot of really cool work. They've learned a couple of years ago, they do a Halloween night. They do open up in October for the Halloween weekend and show scary movies. And people come out there all bundled up and everything. Connecting it back to our colleagues over in Galena, Kansas, Cars on the Route is where the actual mater is at, the wrecker from the movie Cars.
Oh, yeah.
And a few years ago, we partnered with Pixar in the drive-in, and we had a big showing of the Cars over there. It was sold out, and Pixar brought several things in. Some of the characters came, the voices, and it's a great drive-in to have. And they work all through the summer, so it's a very active place.
And that is so interesting because of that Cars connection. That's probably a big hit with the kids, right?
Oh, it is. It's a major thing. The adults too. I mean, what the fun thing is, they say, excuse me, it's allergy season.
Yeah,
the funny thing to say is that when you finish going across Route 66, you finish the full 2,000 miles, go back and watch the movie Cars without the audio on. Because John Lasseter did such meticulous time of sketching landmarks, they couldn't put them all in the movie. He put them in the background. So like what you think is mountains is actually this place, or that place. What you think is a cityscape is actually this place. So he really, in the effort of doing that, he really paid homage to some of the small town type things. The voice of the sheriff is Michael Wallace. He lives in Tulsa, and he's a good friend of the route, and he pops in from time to time, and he does that little sheriff voice, and he deputizes the kids, and it's just a great connection, and it really adds value to the people that want to experience the route for the first time, or even those who are on a second or third time. You and I would probably travel the route in a week. We would probably a week to 10 days, and the Europeans are taking full 2 to 3 weeks. They take it seriously. They pull their whole holiday and they drive it. They come in every fashion. They come from RVs, they come in motorcycles, car caravans, bus tours. We have bookings today. We had one this morning and one this evening of Europeans coming in. It is always the history of Route 66 has had some bizarre things. I mean, in 1924, before it became a designated route, there was a thing called the Bunyan Run, and they ran from Los Angeles to Chicago and then on to New York City barefoot, and they reenact that once in a while. We had a monk that came through and walked the entire route in his full monk regalia, and then he walked all the way to New York City. Then he went back to Nepal for 2 years of silence. So
wow,
there's world records like pushing a baby carriage across routes, pushing a shopping cart. We had a guy doing a rickshaw across the route before COVID happened, and he got stopped, almost completing it, but he got stopped and didn't finish the world record. So bicyclists, motorcyclists come through. I've done most of 3 states on Route 66 on a bicycle myself, and it's you really see some different scenery that way.
Yeah, I mean, Route 66, everybody knows it, right? That is so interesting. And I imagine, too, for the World Cup next year, the traffic coming through Joplin on Route 66 is going to be absolutely phenomenal, probably.
I hope it's bumper to bumper, everybody stops.
Yeah. But, hey, we have so much to talk still about Route 66 and Joplin, but right now what we want to do is just take a quick break, and we'll be right back with Patrick right after this. Well, welcome back to Destination Heartland. We are having so much fun today talking about Joplin and Route 66. So right now I want to go ahead and bring Patrick back in. Patrick Tuttle, director of Visit Joplin. Okay, Patrick, we had so much fun talking about Route 66, and there is so much along this route to do. But one of the things we want to talk about that is really interesting, I found about Joplin, are the murals. There's so many murals around town.
You know, we can't claim to be the mural city. Cuba tries to keep that name, but I think we've surpassed them. Joplin, prior to the 2011 tornado, did not have a lot of public art. We did have some, but it wasn't like it is today. And if anything came out of the metamorphosis of the tornado, is that we have a lot of public art now. We have our, one of our connections with Kansas City is we have the last signed work by Thomas Hart Benton. And you all have the Benton home where it's actually created at up there in Kansas City still. And it's a state landmark, and it's a beautiful memory to that gentleman. But he started his artistic career here and ended it here, basically. It hangs in City Hall, and it's also, we have his grandson's mural, Anthony Benton Good, whose mural hangs in the train station in Kansas City, right above the escalators, that huge mural of locomotives. So we have the grandson and the master side by side here, and they're in each other's mural, which is really kind of cool. But outside, the public art has just gone incredible. I mentioned about the Route 66 Mural Park, which we developed back in 2013. We have 5, 6, 7 now downtown murals in the downtown area. The location where St. John's Hospital sat was given to us by the Mercy Hospital folks, and we turned it into a Passy Park, and it has 31 bronze sculptures that both of our Rotary clubs have helped generate that interest. So it's a beautiful type thing. But and all over town, there's butterflies from the 5th anniversary past the tornado, and other things that really connect a lot of stuff together. We're getting more murals that have some sort of story or meaning behind them versus just being a geometric type thing. But it's exciting, and I think it's one of the best things that came out of the tornado, if that's something you can actually label that a positive that came out of there.
Yeah, the tornado was, we all remember how devastating that was, but to have something positive come out of that is amazing. The one thing about all these murals is there is actually like an established tour that people can take to kind of see all of this.
We do. It's semi-established. We have it, and you go at your own pace because we have people that come to town just to see the Benton. They go to the Benton house, they come here, and then the Walton family down at Crystal Bridges in Bentonville have several Benton pieces as well. So people who are Thomas Hart Benton aficionados will hit the state capitol, they'll hit the Truman Library in Independence, the home, and we're on that list as well. But our murals, there's no set theme to follow with them, but there are people who do pick up our writings that we have on the website, and they'll follow and try to see them all. It is amazing that people take the time going into a community and want to see the public art. It's a prize. It's something that every community should have. And it took us a long time. I've been to Philadelphia several times, and the public art they have is just amazing there. And they're still growing the collection. We're a long ways off from that, but we're at least in the right direction to put things on the ground.
That is so neat. And beyond the murals, you're talking about arts and events in town, especially in the artistic sense. There is a lot in Joplin to see when it comes to arts and culture.
There's a lot more going on than what we had. Our new Cornell Center is a beautiful arts and entertainment center. It has a lot of activity going on, both in the static art side as well as the live entertainment. And that's been a really good addition to the downtown area. We don't have a hotel downtown, but all of our hotels are out by the interstates, and they're about a 15-minute drive away. But there's a lot of the VRBOs and the Airbnbs around that are available to partake in. We like the fact that we have 9 different cuisines downtown that people can choose from. So when we have people in during the day that may have already had something on the road too much, we can offer them different opportunities there. We don't have a large nightlife type thing with going on weekdays, but on the weekends it's pretty bustling.
Yeah, and I also noticed too, like there's some really unique experiences downtown too. Like you had the Joplin Little Theater, is that right? Just kind of talk about that.
That is the oldest community theater west of the Mississippi. And
Wow.
it's not right downtown. It's just on the edge of town by Schifferdecker Park, which is where a golf course is. But it has been around a long time, and it is a great community theater. We do have a couple other ones, Stained Glass Theater that produces shows. But the DreamWorks Theater is what's downtown, and it is a very interesting impromptu company. They will take something that is, you think you're going to see whatever, and they put their spin on it. It's really fun because it's so small. There's a lot of audience participation going in with things. But Joplin Theaters right now, they're doing Grease, and it's been a well-received production of that this year. And they do 4 or 5 shows a year, and it's all local citizens from the area. I think both universities, Missouri Southern and Pitt State, both have theater students that get involved with that, and that's a good way to them to extend their craft out into the community.
That's so neat. Okay, so one other thing I noticed on the list as I was looking through is Candy House Gourmet. Tell me about that.
Oh yeah, that's our number one bus to drive destination. That is a local chocolate confection place.
Ooh, yummy.
They do a lot of good things, and it's not brought in. It's all made right there. There are a few things that they do have that are brands that, like they have the Jelly Bellies. They're a big collection of those. But they make all their chocolate entity right there. And one of the fun things for some of our tours, if we have enough advance notice, you can go in and actually make your own candy bar. So they take you through the process, and you can actually get the mold and shake it out, pour the chocolate in, and add whatever you want to it. And it's very, very fun. Yeah, it's a very sweet location to pull into, and we have a lot of bus tours that love that connection and that part of the tour.
That sounds so cool. I love the idea of making my own candy bar. That is really interesting.
Yeah.
Let's travel.
It's amazing what people put in there. I mean, we put the nuts, but there's kids will put gummy bears in there.
I was going to say, gummy bears always seems to be a popular choice.
Yeah, but that's the fun part. You can put your own little twist to it, and then you have your own candy bar. And they do have some Route 66 chocolates in there and things, but it's good. It is really good.
Oh, that's fun.
Gotta stop it.
That's fun. Let's talk a little bit about outdoor life, beautiful sights to see in Joplin, because there's actually a lot in that arena too.
The one thing we have that is outdoors is Missouri's largest continuously flowing waterfall. Grand Falls never freezes. It runs all the time. It's not tall. It's only about 18 feet high, but it is 160 feet wide, and it's continuously flowing. It's part of our water supply. It's the number one destination. People go off of I-44. They take a break. They go see it. We get all kinds of calls. What time do you close it? What time do you shut it down? It's a piece of nature. So they do all kinds of things. But it is a beautiful place. We also have a lot of trails going in. We are about ready to open up in January. What'll be Missouri's largest municipally owned bike park. It's coming pretty soon. That is both trails for walking as well as for cycling, pump track for the kids. My office is on downtown, so somebody has some noise.
No worries.
Along Shoal Creek, which is what feeds the Grand Falls, is we have trails along there in Wildcat Park and throughout part of our park system. You can do hiking, you can do kayaking, canoeing. There's all sorts of activities that are there.
Oh, that sounds fun too. Lots to do. Talk about maybe some of the more unique experiences that people can get in Joplin. I mean, it sounds like you can do everything from a girls' weekend to a full family weekend there. There's something for everybody there in Joplin.
You've been digging in. Visit JoplinMo.com, our website.
Yes, I have.
We do have itineraries on there for people that maybe want to come to Joplin but don't know what to do. And I think Kansas City is probably one of those probably the most number of people that come from the city that have looked at that and done something, which is great. We like it because a lot of folks come down from Kansas City and haven't been here before or haven't spent time in Joplin. We joked before the tornado that everybody's been through Joplin, but nobody stops. And after the tornado happened, at least came to the doorstep and they spent some time. But no, the itineraries are on there to help you plan your time in Joplin and give you some insight of what to do. Everything from, like you said, girls' weekend, shopping trips. We have a tour called Sacred Places that you can see the 7 most historic churches in town, mostly because of the architecture. Those kind of things. So we try to help you as much as we can, and we're always open if somebody wants to call and say, hey, we're coming down for the weekend, where's this or what's that, or we typically don't try to pick things because we kind of work for everybody, but we want to at least give you the idea of what to do. And it is kind of self-promoting, but we do work with our folks in Kansas and Oklahoma on the Route 66 because we have the largest hotel market in the area. So we hope that people come down and spend some time and see the whole area. Even our national monument. We have the first national monument to a African American and to the first non-president, and that's the George Washington Carver National Monument. It's actually about a 12-minute drive from Joplin, but it is an amazing place to see, and the life of George Washington Carver when he was here as a young lad and started his visions of all kinds of activities. So the Bullhead Home is out there. The Interpretive Center is really maintained by the Park Service in a very beautiful way.
Truly, there is so much to Joplin. One of the questions I always ask, and this is usually the hardest question for people, is what is the best time of year to visit in Joplin?
Well, I think we're kind of sort of like Kansas City. I mean, February and March are our coldest time frame. You know, it's also, we don't get a lot of snow. I think we may get 2 large snowfalls a year, February and March time frame, but we're just wet and cold. It's more about the ice than anything else. And that would be the 2. Well, how would I answer that one? Is that September time frame are the muggiest, and then the coldest will be February and March. The rest of the time it's beautiful, but any time's going to be in Joplin. There's no bad time.
Yeah,
we'll make it work.
And it sounds like there's just so much to do there that really you could go there any time of the year and stay for a bit too.
Well, not only that, but the things change also with the seasons, like it does almost anywhere. But the maple trees over in the Carthage area, there's a drive between Carthage and Carterville on Route 66. It's a long serpentine road, and then in the fall when that's coming down, it's just beautiful to see those trees and how they're coming up there. The seasons change, and so do things that are going on. The events change that people attract to, but I would say you have to come down here at least once or twice to experience Joplin at its fullest.
Yeah, it sounds like it. It just sounds so great. Well, is there anything else you want anyone to know about Joplin?
Well, you kind of hit on it. We visit JoplinMo.com as our site. We're on the same URL for Facebook as well, and we just love to help anybody who's coming down here to walk them through. We are physically in the City Hall, which is the historic Newman's department store. It's probably one of the more historic city halls in the state as far as the architecture goes. Joplin was basically founded, the mining community, and when the mining happened, Kansas was dry and Oklahoma was a territory. It was dry and Missouri was wet. So we had the libations here, we had the eateries, we had the saloons. Most of those are gone, but we still have restaurants, hotels, and things to do. We have over 206 restaurants for a town our size. Nearly 2,000 hotel rooms and countless VRBOs. So there's a lot to do, but there's a lot of opportunities as well to do it. So yeah, that's about it.
All right. Yeah. Come on down to Joplin because you will have a great time is pretty much it. Hey, Patrick, we want to thank you so much today for joining us for Destination Heartland.
My pleasure. Thank you for the time.
Well, and that does it for Destination Heartland. I had such a good time exploring Joplin today, and I can't wait until our next trip, which, remember, new episodes drop every Tuesday. So until then, bye. I'm Sharon Chen with KCTV5.
Oh, it's starting.
Thanks for staying with us here at the live desk. Taylor Johnson here with Shiraz Pompey and a special guest, Jassy Rideau of The Real Housewives of Potomac. Thank you, Jassy, for being with us today.
Absolutely. Thank you guys for having me. And hello, Pom.
Hey, Jazzy Boo.
Yes.
I miss you so much.
So I just thought it would be important to have you here just talking about from KC to RHOP, you and Shiraz working together just to bring together your looks, your cast photo look, and also one of your confessional looks as well. So why don't you guys talk to me about how you guys started working together?
OMG.
Absolutely.
Go ahead, Jazzy.
Oh, please go ahead if you want to start. No problem.
Well, I believe Jazzy found me on Instagram. I believe it may have been during the Chiefs season while Darius was on the Chiefs team, and she messaged me in regards to working together. She didn't tell me what it was for until we actually got on FaceTime, and she said, "Don't tell anybody, but I'm going to be on The Real Housewives of Potomac, and I want you to design for me." And it went from there. I just shell-shocked from her reaching out to me and actually finding me, and then here we are a year later.
That's a big secret to keep. So it's, you picked the right person. That's huge that he was able to hold that for you.
Absolutely. Well, my fashion stylist, Dora Amir, and I had such incredible designs in mind, and we knew we needed a talented designer. And I was looking, and I'd like to think that I have a creative eye where I can really tell who is good at the kind of work that they do, especially when it comes to art. And when I saw Palm's designs, I was like, this is our guy. He's going to create the looks that we need, and he's going to execute them in amazing ways. And we just knew he had the talent. And, he and my stylist got together and they literally created magic. I mean, if you ask me, I have some of the best fashions on the show.
Yes, she does.
Yeah, so tell me the inspiration just behind the design. So I know that the color theme last year and also for the cast photos this year, it's green. And you had like these like appliques on there. It was a really beautiful dress.
Absolutely. So I wanted to go with a design that kind of showcased how I felt in the moment, coming into something so new and something that was so unusual for what I was used to. And when we thought about the design, I was thinking, what is something that's also going to fit me in a way that just makes me feel like I'm truly expressing myself. So when I talked to Palm and I talked to my stylist, I just thought, you guys, I need something I want to do a one sleeve. I want the waist to be snatched in as much as you can, Palm. I'm like, I don't know if you have to put a corset inside of it or what you have to do, but I know I want that smooth look. I didn't want anything poofy, and I wanted it to showcase kind of growing and growth like a vine. And Palm just took that and ran with it. It was, designed like a tree that was also blossoming, and Palm added these petals, and I think that he can tell you what kind of particular appliques they were, but he added those, and it just truly made me feel like this is how I feel in the moment. I think green is a beautiful color, and of course the platform it chose the color for us, so our job was just to kind of match up my personal style with the classic and modern touch as well.
You want to add to that, Shiraz?
Yes. So there were 3D appliques that came as a material, came as a yard of fabric. So I took a corset, installed it within it. The stylist Dora that we were working with for the design told me add a couple more petals to make it look like she was growing from the set into this beautiful gown. So if you see the pictures from the last year's season, it literally looks like the dress is growing, and then there Jazzy is inside of it. So it was honestly a very fun, flirty, but still fitted something different. We wanted it to be something different from anybody else on the cast, and come to find out it was totally different from anybody else. I want to say is the best dress of the season for the last 2 seasons. So it was just a new introducing a new style, honestly, to have Jazzy be different from everybody else.
And speaking of style, Jazzy, I want to take a look at your wedding photos. So you did spend some time with us here in Kansas City. Your husband, Darius, was a player. And so you two are now happily married. I know you guys are in another city now. But just talk about your wedding dress and just the design and how you came to choose this.
Well, absolutely. So my wedding dress was completely curated within my own mind, but I also reached out to a Nigerian designer who I just knew could pull this dress all the way together. So we had the base, and I thought to myself, you know what? I need this dress to really come together in a very customized way. So we added the belt, we added the straps. I knew I wanted a sort of halter-like wedding dress. That was for one of them. I think you guys may only have one of my wedding dress pictures, but I did change 4 times at my wedding. And just what inspired that was just the idea that I had in my head of how I wanted to feel, how I wanted to look. And honestly, you know, I couldn't do what I do without my glam team. I'm so grateful for them. And mentioning a part of the glam when it came to the wedding was another KC designer that I'll be happy to kind of shed a little light to. His name is Bo Styles, who did Darius's tux. And he designed that with my stylist door as well. And he's another designer that's right there out of Kansas City. So Kansas City has got a lot of talent, and I clearly have some ties to Kansas City.
Yes, you do.
And so you talked about how you found Shiraz through Instagram. So what was the search? Like, tell me what that process was like for you looking for him.
Absolutely. So I had just searched KC tailors, KC designers, Kansas City dresses, and I also searched just customized dresses. And I think that it was a generalized tag that Shiraz was using. And so when he was using the tag, I was able to find him, which I don't even think, looking back, if it was tailored to KC designers or rather it was just custom designers. But whatever it was, he had the hashtag, and when his dress came up, I immediately clicked on the page and I wanted to learn more about his designs. I could tell that the designs were quality, and that was really important to me, especially on a platform like this. You know, it can get real shady on the side of Potomac, honey.
Yes,
so you better come with it. You cannot come with anything that is not up to par. So when I looked at his page and I ran it past my stylist that I work with, I mean, it was incredible. We were like, you know what? Absolutely. He's going to be able to execute. And because obviously we still had a lot of ties to Kansas City, in which we still do. But obviously with that, I thought it might be easy because I would be in the area anyway. And I mean, from day one of meeting him, he was like, you won't believe what I'm watching right now on my TV. I'm literally watching Potomac Housewives right now. He was really taken aback because he's like, wait, you mean you're going to be on the show that I'm watching right now? So, I mean, and we FaceTimed, and he literally was like, literally look at what I'm watching. I'm like, yeah, well, you're going to be watching your own design. So let's get you next to that sewing machine and get me looking good.
Let's get to work.
And looking good, he did for you. Love your dress. Love your confessional look as well.
I'm so grateful.
So I have to ask you, Shiraz, to see your work on Bravo. Come on now.
Yeah.
What does that mean for you?
Ooh, I think even still today, it's an opportunity that I am still trying to figure out, like not figure out, but more of just be grateful and remain humble, because I did not know that a year later from us designing and that would still be on Bravo Network. Jazzy finding me was an absolute blessing. She invited me out to the premiere. I've been inside of her home. I've met Darius. Her family was all just a beautiful experience. And today I'm still basking in it because it's still unbelievable to me. Being watching Bravo for so many years, all my clients know that every time they come into my office, I'm watching Housewives, like literally all the time. So when she called me, I was watching Housewives, and I said, wow, this must be something next for me. I was going through a journey of figuring out I had just turned 30. So I was trying to figure out my path, and maybe 2 months after I turned 30, there Jazzy was, and she was reaching out to me. So I had just moved in an apartment. So it was all like a full circle moment for me to be watching Housewives on the television when she called, and then always having it on for my clients. It just felt like this was the next step for me in my career. So having Jazzy, it's honestly been a blessing, and I'm still reaping the benefits from working with her a year later. And being on Bravo is just, it'll go down in history for me and my family. So I will always have this moment and be able to hold it, and Jazzy is always a part of my life, like for the rest of my life, because this is a memory that I'll always have.
I love that. And another thing that's just really amazing about this story is that you just never know who's watching you, right? And you just gotta be ready for these opportunities. And sometimes that's all it takes is just someone seeing your work and taking a chance on you, and look at the benefits that it has reaped. It's really exciting.
It is.
Yes.
It is. And I'm happy she took that chance on me, and it came out amazing. And just being able to be there, and all the ladies that I've watched on TV, I'm like, is this really my life?
Yes.
And then it is.
This is it.
And you met several of the ladies from being in our
Yes.
dressing rooms and
Oh
getting
my
me
gosh.
together. And then, Dr. Wendy's walking by.
Yeah, and I got my hug from Karen.
The Grand Dame.
Yes.
Okay, so we have to switch gears because the premiere was last night, right? And so I am a Bravo girl. I've been watching Housewives since its inception. So that's like my thing. But also I'm a DMV girl. So years ago, I went to the season 3 premiere party, like when Monique first joined the season. I was writing for a blog at the time. So it was really cool.
That's awesome.
Yeah. So, anytime I can connect, my DMV ties somewhere, especially out here, I'm going to do that. I'm a PG County girl. Okay.
Awesome. Love PG County.
So this is your second season on The Real Housewives of Potomac. We were first introduced to you last year. So I saw a recent interview that you did. I want to say maybe this was on Bravo, and they said to describe the season in one word, and you said like drop the mic. So tell us what makes you say that?
Well, I am going to say that I do have some pretty unforgettable moments this season. And I do have a few shocking moments as well that literally there's no words for. I mean, there's a lot of shifting and dynamics. There are so many just WTF moments this season. And so when I was asked that question, my only answer was just drops mic, because there's nothing left to be said. You just have to watch.
All right, we are watching. So when we were introduced to you last year, you were brought on as a friend of Mia. And we know that Mia is no longer there. So how are you navigating the group now? Oh, okay. Let's expand on that a little bit. So,
well, listen, can I be real for a moment?
Go ahead.
Let me just say, shout out to Mia and whatever she's doing these days. But Mia dropped me off to the wolves, and she didn't help me last season, and she sure is not helping me this season. So I'm navigating pretty well, after she dropped me off to the wolves.
Oh my God. Well, I mean, hey, I was going to say you survived. You're here another season.
I survived. It turns out I didn't need anyone to hold my hand. And actually, she did me a favor, because God forbid I'd be on this season without her. I wouldn't know how to navigate if she was there holding my hand. So she really did me a favor.
Well, the big talk when the episode started was, of course, Karen. At the reunion last year, we know she wasn't there, but she has sent a video message, and you were one of the people that she thanked for supporting her, especially after learning about the fact that she was going to be sentenced and things of that nature. We know that she's out now, but have you spoken with Karen? Have you seen her?
I have spoken with Karen, and Karen for us she's really been a pillar of connectivity amongst our group. And coming into this group, Karen was really one of the ones that gave me some incredible guidance and just often was a listening ear. I truly had no idea how much she was going through in her own life, and the way that she was there for me is something that I will always thank her for. I have spoken to her. I do know that she's at home with her family, and doing the things that she needs to do to become a better person. And I think that she's already a great person. And like anybody, in this life, no one's perfect. We all make mistakes. And sometimes those mistakes have to be shown in front of the world, which is already something really hard to kind of navigate. But I do know that she's working on any of the issues that she has had before, as she's constantly working to be a better person. And I think that that's what life's about, is just waking up every day and trying to be a better you. And I think that Karen is on that journey and path.
Yeah, we are looking forward to seeing her again. But I knew when she got out, I knew they were going to start the episode with that clip. I'm like, they would have been crazy not to do that.
I mean, she's the
You
grand
already
dame.
know. Like I said, Karen is a huge part of our dynamic over in Potomac. So it made sense because a lot of fans and viewers wanted to know, what is the update? How has she been? I mean, she really was quite private in having to serve her time. And I think that was partially because it was something that she really wanted to take in and, go on that journey and with seriousness, not just with cameras and, people talking to her every day or her taking it as a joke. So I think that her kind of just going quiet was needed for her mental health, and then too for her journey, for her personal journey, but also, coming out and allowing the cameras to now see, the transition and how everything is, kind of unfolding for her after this, I think is really generous of her to do for the fans and the viewers as well.
Yeah, I recall her saying in the video message at the reunion that she was going to come back as Karen Huger and not the Grand Dame. But I'm going to be honest, when she was out, I had my phone and I was waiting. I kept refreshing that timeline. I'm like, where is she? Where is she?
I was too.
So I am happy she's out. I can't wait to see her again. So I do want to ask you as well, where are you with Miss Stacey Rush? Because she was also a big topic of discussion this first episode, going from TJ to now we're seeing that her ex-husband is filming now.
Stacey's ex-husband or current husband?
Oh, come on, T. Give us the tea here.
I'm just trying to make sure we're talking about the same person.
Because I saw the description say ex-husband, but with Stacey, it's hard to.
Well, I think we are. I mean, I think that Stacey and I are in a peculiar place right now. I think that you'll see a lot of our usual dynamics on the show. And I think there will also be some things that kind of just allows you in on our relationship as it relates to our friendship, that lets you know why we might be in a little bit of a peculiar place right now.
Okay, curious to see that. And so we also met the two new housewives, Angel and Tia, but we didn't see you in the first episode. But what insight can you give us on the new ladies? What do you think of them?
Oh my goodness. Well, you didn't see me because I clearly was in the heat of my wedding planning, and I was back and forth from Dallas and to Maryland and things like that. So I do join the ladies soon, so you have to keep watching to see when I join. But I'm so glad that you guys were able to check out our newbies, who's Tia and Angel. Both ladies bring something incredibly different and in the best way. And Tia is from London, I think or not necessarily London, but I know that she's British, and she brings a very different dynamic that I really enjoyed and was thankful to get an opportunity to get to know her more. And Angel and I have so much in common. Her husband was in the NFL for about 10 years or so, and they're retired now. And so just connecting with her and getting to know her more, I think that they both bring some very interesting dynamics. And, the season may be starting a little slow, but I'm telling you guys, I will tell you to keep your eye out for those two because they may be rookies, but they're not rookies to the drama.
Yes, and speaking of not being rookies, you're no longer a rookie, and you're in your second season. Now, of course, I had to go through the hashtag, see what the people are saying, and so many people are like, "Where is Jazzy's flute?" What is your response to that? Do you want
My response
that
to that is my flute is right here. And cheers.
Cheers. I'm on a job. If not, I would clink with you.
Listen, You look like my kind of girl. You seem like my kind of girl. I think we would have a great time over some champagne. But, honestly, being a full-time cast member and having them coming into your homes and just filming your personal life, it takes a lot of dedication and time. So, I say, shout out to all of the flute holders across the franchise, allowing America to be entertained by what's going on, not only in your personal life while you're at lunch with these ladies, but also in your real home with real situations amongst your partner and your family dynamics and things like that. It is a huge weight to carry for entertainment of others, and it's something that you have to be very brave to do. So I'm just thankful that I have the opportunity to be on the platform, rather that's in a friend role or the full-time position. And I think that with time, and if it's in God's will for my life, I think that people will get to see a lot more of my family dynamics as well.
That's encouraging, especially now that you're newly married. We got to, see a little bit of that in the previous season, but even in the reunion, I remember you brought your beautiful invitation for the folks to see.
It's all been surreal.
Yes, very happy for you. So, again, you're in your second season. It's not your first rodeo anymore. What do you think, though?
I'm ready now.
What would you say is the biggest lesson that you've learned from yourself now that filming is over on this second go round for you? Because, it's always the question of, well, what was your lesson from the first season? What are you carrying into your second season? But now that you guys have wrapped and it's airing, what would you say is the biggest lesson you learned, or how have you maybe grown and developed after this second experience with the cast?
Well, I think that the biggest lesson is just that if you continue to be authentically who you are, then those that want to gravitate to you will gravitate to you, and those that may not be your people will maybe not be the ones closest to you, and that's also okay. But I think that the biggest lesson that I've learned is just that I was already on the right track, because just like season 9, I'm coming into season 10 being authentically who I am. But when you go through things, you can also be a little closed off. So just learning to kind of let that guard down and understand that this is so much bigger than just a person asking you questions. This is America wanting to know who is Jazzy Rideau Harris. And so just not taking a lot of things personal and just kind of leaning into exactly who I am and letting them get into it. And, I think that is one of the biggest things that I learned taking away from season 9 that I'm definitely bringing into season 10. I mean, I'm here and I'm here to stay.
Yes, we love to hear it. Well, thank you so much, Jazzy, for joining us this morning. It was just so great to hear about your collaboration here with Shiraz and your beautiful looks on RHOP. And whenever you come back to Kansas, or actually, I'm going to be in the DMV at the end of this month. We might have to connect.
Okay, we'll get together for some champagne and some more tea, honey. And Palm, thank you so much. Kansas City, thank you so much. You guys have so many talented people that I'm using and that we will continue to use when it comes to fashion. And so, Kansas City can often be looked at as a smaller state, and city, Missouri anyway, looked at as a smaller state and city. And so, but I want people to know that Kansas City has some incredible talent. Yes. And it's not just the food or barbecue that you go to Kansas City for. You might want to come for the fashions as well.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Well, again, thank you so much. Whenever you're in KC too, let us know. Yes. So we can all get together. It's such a great vibe.
And you know what? One last thing. My family are one of the original creators of Gates Barbecue, and Ollie Gates is the grandfather of a few of my really close cousins by just by way of them. And I just want to say thank you to all of Kansas City who supported me on this platform. Of course, the designers, of course, everyone there that's just been rooting me on from Kansas City as well. Kansas City really has a special place in my heart. So thank you for having me on today.
Yes, absolutely. And we will be watching, Miss Jazzy.
Thank you, guys. I hope to entertain you this fall on RHOP, that's for sure.
Yes. All right. Well, thank you so much. And with that said, we're going to take a break, and then we'll be right back.
Thank you so much.